Welcome to the overview of Wizards and Sorcerers in Revenge of the Firstborn. Today we'll talk about the similarities and differences between the two main arcane spellcasting classes in the game. We'll begin with the Wizard. Just as in pen and paper rules, Wizards must choose their spells and rest to memorize them before casting them. Sorcerers, on the other hand, may cast any spell they know at any time. They are limited to a certain number of spells of a given level per day, and they are also able to learn a much smaller number of spells during their adventuring career. This tends to result in sorcerers being more focused on one type of spell, whereas wizards can learn any arcane spell in the game, giving them a broader set of useful spells. Sorcerers learn new spells only when leveling up. A wizard is able to learn new spells both when leveling up or via finding scrolls containing the spell as they are adventuring. Metamagic feats allow modifying a spell so that it is more potent, harder to resist, or lasts longer than it normally would. The way these metamagic feats work is another big difference between wizards and sorcerers. When wizards are memorizing spells, they decide if they wish to apply any metamagic feats to the spell as they are choosing them. All metamagic feats raise the spell level of the spell they are applied to. Since sorcerers don't memorize spells the way a wizard does, they choose what metamagic feats to apply to a spell as they are casting it. The user interface will show what metamagic feats can be applied to a given spell as the player is choosing a spell to cast. For a sorcerer, any spell that has metamagic applied to it takes a full round to cast, even if it is normally less than that. It also uses a higher level spell slot in the same way it does for a wizard. In Revenge of the Firstborn, spells are grouped into schools of magic. For instance, most spells that affect the mind are in the enchantment school, and spells such as the iconic Fireball and Lightning Bolt are in the evocation school. When a character takes his first level of wizard, he can choose to specialize in one of these schools. This allows the character to memorize one extra spell for each spell level in this specialized school. The trade-off is that he must choose two schools of magic that are forever barred to him, and from which he can never learn or cast spells. Wizards and sorcerers can make use of a variety of feats to expand their abilities. With the Scribe Scroll feat, they can create scrolls that store spells that don't count against their daily allotment of available spells to cast. The Craft Wand feat allows them to create a wand that similarly holds charges of the selected spell. Some of the more coveted magic items in the game are the various magical staffs that can be found or claimed from enemies. While any number of wands can be found throughout the world, they contain just a single spell, and that spell is generally cast at the lowest level of efficacy possible. Staffs, on the other hand, generally contain a variety of spells they can cast, and they use the wielder's spellcasting statistics, so a more powerful wizard casts more powerful spells when using a staff. In a game that features flying creatures and changes in elevation, being able to change the height at which a spell is targeted can be a great advantage in combat. You can change the angle of the cone and line spells to cast them over the head of your dwarven warriors and still hit the giant that they are fighting. Similarly, you can raise or lower the target position of your fireball spell to include both the target on the ground and the one standing on a ledge above. Revenge of the Firstborn contains nearly 300 spells. Comment below to find out if your favorites made the cut. You can also wishlist the game on Steam at the link below.